Bart?
He's in the toilet, Tommy. Taking rather than talking crap for a change.
Great, because I wanted to talk to you about something. I've been doing a bit of thinking, yeah?
And how did you get on? Tell me, did you figure out why Simon Cowell's teeth are so white? I'm glad we're already rolling, because the world simply must hear this.
Simon Cowell? His teeth are white because they're false, ain't they? Everyone knows that. Anyway, I've been reading the Old Testament and it's really got me thinking, yeah?
The Old Testament? Well, that's not what I was expecting. Go on, Tommy.
Well, you know how Adam and Eve was in the Garden of Eden, yeah? Running about all naked and then tempted by the fruit from a tree, yeah? Well, this fruit, believed to be an apple, became a representation of temptation and sin and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I hate to say this, Tommy, but you've got my full attention for once. Pray continue, albeit on a short leash.
So riddle me this, yeah, Vic. What do you think they did with the apple?
Well, Adam and Eve succumbed to the evils of temptation, and they ate the fruit, didn't they?
Uh-huh, but did they?
Well, to be honest, Tommy, I haven't read the Bible since I was a kid, but I do seem to remember they chomped that apple.
I reckon that Eve must have been a bit of a goer, yeah? She was running around in the nutty all the time, and I reckon they was well into kinky sex involving fruit, yeah? What I can't work out is if Adam hollowed out that apple and pumped it, or if Eve stuck it up her minge, or maybe even her chutney as part of some kind of sex game.
So you're basically suggesting that the fruit in the Garden of Eden was the world's first sex toy?
Well, I didn't think of it like that, Vic, but yeah, I suppose it was.
In that case, Tommy, did you stop to consider that perhaps Adam might have stuffed the apple up his khyber? Or perhaps that fruit was actually a cucumber?
But a cucumber's a vegetable.
No, Tommy, you're the vegetable. Fruit grows from a flower and contains seeds. So stick that up your khyber and smoke it.
What on earth are you two talking about? There'll be no smoking in this shop.
Tommy's been thinking again, Bart. Honestly, you don't want to know.
You're absolutely right about that, Vic. And 3, 2, 1. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the weekly Dreams into Action podcast. As you know, the lockdown restrictions have been eased somewhat this week, so you can now enjoy unlimited exercise. We hope you're not the easily perplexed and confused type, afraid to trust your own common sense or what little you may have of it in the outside world. Please do feel free to take a casual stroll, a light jog, or a leisurely cycle to Catford to take a look through my shop window. We've created a stunning display to feature some of the most popular records in the shop. You can take advantage of our new upgraded online ordering system from a mobile device and choose our new Flip and Collect service for instant vinyl gratification. Speaking of instant gratification, Bart, what's your view on Savaloys? Well, I've had a few in my time. They're okay, I suppose. Always used to fancy one after a Friday night out on the town.
How many do you think you could handle at once, Bart, if you were really gagging for one?
If I had a real appetite, I could probably manage 2 or 3. All at once, Bart? Yes, Tommy, all at once. I'd perhaps need some sauce with it, but yes. And what about bananas then? Could you do with one of them as well?
Actually, Tommy, this is no fun at all. It's just too easy. Let's get to the sales pitch, shall we? Sadly, in the last few weeks, we have lost some absolute musical legends. People like the Stranglers keyboard player Dave Greenfield, who also wrote the seminal evergreen hit Golden Brown. Then there was Little Richard, and before that, sadly, Florian Schneider from the legendary Kraftwerk.
Yes, I do understand that Howard Jones was devastated about that last fellow, as Kraftwerk had been a great influence upon his music. I must tip my hat to Kraftwerk for laying down tracks for the locomotive that was Howard's career.
Well, Bart, Kraftwerk were indeed seminal, and we have 4 of their classic albums in our shop window display, so that listeners to this podcast can pay their respects by hot-footing it down here to buy a copy of Man Machine, Computer World, Trans-Europe Express, and that old classic Autobahn.
An excellent and subtle segue into the sales pitch, Vic, without, dare I say it, sounding too grasping.
Thank you, Bart. What people don't know is that Florian started his musical career as an experimental musician along with Ralph Hutter. They were involved in a genre of music called kosmic music. Their first band was called Organisation, and their debut album Tone Float was issued in the UK in 1970. And if you got a mint copy, it's worth an amazing 400 quid. And like the early Kraftwerk records, featured long tracks rather than the shorter proto-synth pop proto-techno music that they became known for. Of course, the most successful kosmiche band was Tangerine Dream, who thought nothing of filling one side of an album with an extended synthesized meditation. This spawned countless other bands who recorded their own synth symphonies, and the genre came to be more popularly known as Krautrock, only in the UK though.
Pick up the pace a bit, Vic. This isn't the History Channel, you know.
Well, Bart, the record we are selling this week is rather unique. It was recorded by a young man from Hamburg called Heiner Strasse, who released it under the name of Liebe Tanz, which means love dance in English.
Well, it doesn't sound like dance music. There's no beat, just a kind of squishing drone.
Perhaps, but this piece was essentially a cynical marketing stunt to save Heiner's own tanking record label called Gut Records. What he tried to do was condense a 20-minute experimental piece that built and developed over the entire side of an earlier album into a commercial 3-minute single in the vain attempt to get some radio play and make some serious Deutschmark. It was released in 1979 and was called For Immer Liebe, which means...
Yes, I know. Forever love. I did German A-level at boarding school and used to speak it rather well. I even like to think I picked up something of a German sense of humour from old Herr Heydrich's classes.
That explains a lot, Bart, but this single only had limited distribution in Germany at a time when everyone was buying Schlager music, new wave, or strutting their arse to disco. Poor old Heiner had a bit of a nightmare trying to compete with Tangerine Dream and ABBA, and the single sold poorly. But over time, it became sought after due to its excellent sound. It's now regarded as a cold wave classic and is worth 50 quid.
£50? Is that all? Can't we just jack up the price a bit?
Well, Bart, it is rare and there are currently no copies for sale on eBay, Discogs or anywhere else. Given its scarcity, we'll get the full 50 quid for it. That, though, should be the ceiling price. We don't want to be seen grasping in these desperate times.
Well, Leute von Catford, das klingt für mich nach einem Schnäppchen. So don your face mask, snap on your latex gloves and head on down to Catford town and put those dreams into action. Tschüss.
Wow.